guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to do an update to a video I covered a few weeks ago, which is titled, A Lawyer Shares Everything Men Need to Know About Prenups That Their Wives Don't Want Them to Know. And guys, as a recap, that's about the lawyer that wrote in about 3 weeks ago. He does this for a living, prenups and all that type of stuff. And he wrote in to really set the record straight on a lot of misconceptions that are out about prenups and those types of things, as well as things that are just flat out BS circulating around. And he did it through many examples in a very, very humorous type of way. Well, he's back now to both respond to a bunch of questions that many of you guys had in the comment section, as well as to add on to other things he forgot to mention and things like that, to really help you out. So I thought it'd be a good one to go over here, again, for you guys that want to learn something that can either help you out, or maybe somebody you know. So he continues on. He says, Dear SSM, this is the attorney who wrote in previously about prenups and how to make them work as an overall strategy. Thanks for spreading this knowledge. I mentioned I'd send in something about paternity test strategy, but I thought it would be good to follow up on questions and comments from the first video before that. The paternity test strategy is basically done, but I didn't want to send both in one email. That would end up being a 55-minute video. Yeah, I don't like doing those super long ones. So, send your other thing about paternity tests and all that thing, the strategy behind that to really, because believe me, guys will want to hear that. So, by all means, send it in now, and I'll film that thing. You were spot on when you said that we were from the same generation. I'm just old enough to remember when automatic sliding glass doors became the norm. But I'm also young enough at heart to use the force every time I hit a target. I also grew up just across Massachusetts border. Yeah, I figured this dude was about my age and my old backyard. I'm sure you visited the regional pizza chain I worked at during high school and college, and that's where I learned more about people, life, and running a business than I ever did in college and law school. It was the lessons I learned from my actual grandfathers and hint pizza papa managers that put me on my own path to a successful life despite the usual blue pill influences associated with New England. It's interesting about New England because you got a lot of tough guys there in New England and you got a lot of candy ass guys. I mean, just it's amazing to me how both can be in the same freaking place. But anyhow, I like how you said you learned a lot of stuff about real life, working a job, not in school, because let's be honest, the vast majority of stuff you learn in college, you're never going to use. A complete waste of time and money. Well, I'm a big believer in trying to get the truth out there, but sadly YouTube and other social media seems to go viral when it tells people what they want to hear rather than what is true. And a lot of people want to hear it's simple, it's easy, and here are 5 simple tips and tricks to succeed in under 30 minutes. Number 4 will shock you. In fact, people will often search endlessly until they find anyone, to tell them what they want to hear and will just ignore facts. Well, that's reality. People are lazy, People want to hear what they want to hear. Many years ago, a woman called me from a small town about 50 miles from my office. She found my information in the Yellow Pages, yes, the actual Yellow Pages, where I had an ad laying out that I handle estate planning and corporate law. However, she had a marriage question for me. She slowly built up to what she really wanted to ask. She started out saying she was almost 50, that she found the man of her dreams, and she was going to get married. But there was one catch. She said, I only recently found out from some other older aunts in the family that we both have the same father. Can we still get married? What? And I said, you can't marry your brother. And she said, but it's not like we're going to have children or anything, since we're too old. And she replied, trying to argue with me. I told her, you can't marry your brother. She then said, but the only people who know are old and will probably be dead soon. She pleaded that as I would somehow change the state's laws and suddenly open up the gates of the church for them to get married. Again, I said to her, you can't marry your brother. Some guys are probably, this is bullshit. No, there are wacko people out there. And there are women that are that desperate, 50 years old, would actually marry their own brother. I wouldn't say it's all impossible to do that, Or she was pranking him, I don't know. Yeah, says SSM, I know darn well she called every single attorney in a 50-mile radius from her home before finally getting to me. And she kept getting the same no answer from all of them. But she was going to keep searching until one attorney told her what she wanted to hear. And she was going to run with that answer. The advice you give men out there is a lot like the advice I had to give her. But most people don't want to hear because it takes actual work. Yeah, I tell guys to work on themselves, bust their tail, blah, 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 blah. That I preach reality. I use the word preach. But a lot of people just want to do the easy way. Well, nothing great in life comes doing the easy way, guys, unless you were just lucky and won the freaking lottery. It's just too difficult for the vast majority of people to hear. I suspect that's why you're having troubles with YouTube no longer pushing out your content like they used to. He says, so please, guys, head over to X to follow SSM channels so you can get solid information while also having a good time. He says, sorry, couldn't resist putting that in the plug. Yeah, guys, if you haven't done already, come check me out on X, formerly Twitter. The handle is SSM channels. They're not going to bother me over there, and I can pump out videos over there. But in the interest of full disclosure, I'm one of those relationship guys. But I think men should go into relationships taking the right precautions to protect themselves every step of the way, and that's what means doing the work of having a solid prenup strategy. It's not just about taking your time, it's about having a plan, executing that plan, and having a big enough stones to stick with the plan in the face of shrieking, crying women, labeling you as misogynistic or insecure. Exactly. What's the saying? Failure to plan is the plan to fail, something like that. Gotta have a plan, guys. Both marriages and businesses fail when people don't plan ahead, don't do the work, and instead they just go skipping through life, seeing how they feel about things at any given moment. Well, that sounds like most people. Why do most people's lives are messed up? Unfortunately, I'm seeing comments and questions that sound a lot like the things my client said, trying to find those easy duct tape solutions I warned about instead of actually doing the work. Here are the bigger items and questions. Okay, now we're going to go into some things that's important to hear. Number one, what if she refuses to get her own attorney in the prenup process? That's a very good question. Remember in the last video, he made it clear, you're going to get a prenup, both you guys got to get lawyers. Very, very important there. He says, this one is easy. Run away. When you read the outline for the paternity test strategy in the next submission, you'll see there's a rational process leading to marriage and kids. Instead of my last submission solely on prenups, which was long enough, I was originally going to send you one huge email with the whole prenup paternity test dating to marriage strategy all at once. But it would have made the video longer than the FNS symposium on why men suck, and it would have just been as boring. If your woman is bitching and complaining about getting her own attorney in the prenup process, chances are you should have seen a parade of red flags long ago and already dumped her. Exactly. He says here, as I'm sure Lou Bega from Mambo number 5 would say, you don't need to tie yourself to Jessica when you've already got Angela, a Pamela, a Sandra, and Rita to choose from. He knew what he was talking about. I know you're my age because I remember when that song came out in 1999. Oh, shit. I think it was 99 or maybe 2000. Maybe one of them will get it with a program and get their own lawyer. So if your woman refuses to get her own attorney for a prenup, then you just need to make a new plan, stand, and get yourself free. There, you guys, as simple as possible. You want a prenup and she's not going to get her own attorney, then that's it. Because if she doesn't get her own attorney and you try to shove it down her throat, judge could be like, nope, not happening, when you may have to use that prenup. Number 2, what if I just... There are a few questions or comments that sound like the ones my client asked about. What if you download the prenup, fill it out with crayon, and stick it under her nose as you're ready to walk down the aisle? But you have to have her sign in blue ink with 2 witnesses. Well, not quite that bad, but probably just likely to fail. For example, one was, what if you use a severability clause in the prenup, so even if you don't follow all the marriage provisions, the divorce provisions will still remain legally effective? He says a severability clause basically means if a judge throws out 1 or 2 clauses of a contract, then the other contract clauses survive and remain enforceable. I don't know why, but that question reminded me of a comedy bit that I believe was from Chris Rock. It was about a homeless guy at McDonald's trying to buy a single chicken McNugget. I'll give you a quarter for 1 nugget, my man, 25 cents for 1 nugget, cash money. No, they only sell nuggets in packs. And if you don't buy the pack, you ain't getting the nugget. And a judge isn't going to enforce just the divorce provisions if you don't follow most of the other terms of the prenup. Just because you add a severability clause, just do the work. Okay. Number 3, give everything to your mother. Okay, that is an idea like sign over everything to your mom so she can't get it. He says, I've heard this one a lot because, through blind luck, it actually worked for a professional soccer player in Europe. I remember that. Rather than having a prenup strategy, he instead just gave everything to his mother so his wife couldn't get his assets in a divorce. This is what I call a duct tape solution. And hand to God, I actually have a roll of duct tape on my law office conference room table with the words estate plan written on the sides in black Sharpie. He attached a picture to this email with his duct tape thing that he described right here. This guy's got a good sense of humor, but he makes a point to his clients. You don't want a duct tape strategy to shit like this. It says here, I use it as a prop when a client asks about these type of simple but short-sighted solutions. My clients may only be thinking 1 or 2 steps ahead, but my job is to look well beyond that to multiple contingencies and against multiple threats. Well, there you go. That's what they're paying you for. You know? Yeah, your average Joe can look a few steps ahead, but your lawyer, one who knows what the hell he's doing, should be able to think of 19 steps ahead. And then all those 19 steps, all the different ways, the forks in the road of those steps, and what can happen. What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? That's what his job's to do. I've been doing this work long enough to know that crap happens in life, and people don't always have the decency to die in the right order and the right time and place. And with a good plan effect, if the soccer player's mom died with 4 kids and owning all her son's wealth, chances are the 4 kids equally divide her estate, and he loses 75% of his money to his siblings. There you go. Exactly. And man, if you want to see ugly, see family fight over money. When a grandparent dies or a parent dies, all of a sudden those siblings that may have gotten along before, if it wasn't if mom or dad didn't have a will, and then, oh man, it is vicious. Whew. And I know this guy's probably seen things like that before. And if you think the siblings would do the right thing and return his millions to him, I have a bridge to sell you. What'd I just say? I've actually seen a family argue over a pocket knife appraised at $5 that only sold for $3 at an estate sale, and the beneficiary demanded the trustee put in the extra $2. I don't think you're bullshitting here. I believe that. People are that fucking crazy and petty. What do you think is going to happen when millions of dollars are on the table? Or what if mom didn't die but got sued for something, and now all his assets are up for grabs in court for something he didn't even do? He just got lucky. None of those things happened. Yeah, I remember that article. What the soccer player should have done to be safe was have the prenup in place, but put his wealth into a domestic asset protection trust. And if he really trusted his mom, he could have always made her the trustee and named successor trustees in case she died. Thank you. That way, multiple contingencies can be planned for without the risk and liabilities of someone else just having possession over your assets. And Lord knows he had the money to hire a lawyer to do the thing the right way. And there you go. So if you want something done right, hire an attorney. It is worth your money, worth your time. Don't think you know everything. Come on here. This guy's telling you right here. And again, remember I said in the first video, I looked this guy up. This guy's legit. The email he sent it from is from the law office, the whole thing here. He does this for a living. Listen to your attorney. Just pay the extra money. Don't be cheap. Because remember, guys, you get what you pay for. Number 3, another thing people were saying, just don't get married. That's what I said. Remember in that video, guys, he was talking about all this. You get the prenup, and there's all these clauses and stuff, and you got to enforce them throughout the marriage and stuff like that. And I said, what the hell's the point? And it wasn't just about money. It was just all these things that she's supposed to do and everything. And if all of a sudden she's slipping up, not doing those, that could be a problem down the road. But I'll read this anyway. He says, this was the most common one. Yeah, sounds simple enough, but men will do stupid things when it comes to women. Yeah, you think? I've been doing this 5 years. The reason I'm on here, guys, is because guys doing stupid things to women and women doing stupid things to guys, and nothing's going to change, which means I'm going to be doing this probably the rest of my life unless something happens to me or I get kicked off. Men do stupid things to women, and they find ways to sabotage otherwise good legal advice because they think they're discovering some clever loopholes that no one else has ever thought of. He says, insert a judge eye roller here. Simply not getting married isn't a guarantee you aren't going to get dragged into court by a woman and lose half your stuff. Well, if you're not living with her, it ain't going to happen. And at least if you're smart about it. You may remember a story from 5 years ago about a wealthy Canadian businessman who technically followed his attorney's advice and still ended up having to pay out the butt in court. I remember that. I'm sure the legal advice was largely 1, don't get married, 2, don't live together, and 3, keep your assets separate. Yeah, sound advice. But then, from a legal standpoint, he did some of the stupidest, most moronic, Steve Urkel level crap you can imagine to blow up his own life. Here are the big things he screwed up. Well, okay, I'm going to go through this list, and What is listed is stupid as hell. But I still stand by the fact that don't marry them, don't move them in, and keep your assets separate. But listen to what this guy also did to screw up the situation. He kept calling this woman his wife to everyone in public. Duh. Yeah, how stupid is that? 2. He gave her an engagement and wedding rings to wear, and he wore matching wedding rings as well. Duh. He didn't marry her. He didn't move her in. He kept the assets separate, but he was going to tell everybody that's his wife, and he even had rings. Duh. 3. He paid all the bills and even asked her to quit her job so she could make him and his life her top priority. Again, duh. 4. While she had a separate apartment, she lived at his place about 90% of the time, and he hardly ever stayed at her house. Again, duh. So there you go. Just because he wasn't married and they weren't living together technically, like, officially and all that, and separate assets still, after all that stupid crap, look what happened. Yeah. Well, I don't think there's many guys watching my channel regularly that say you're a relationship guy and you had a girlfriend, but you're not going to get married to her. She's not living with you. You certainly split up your assets. I don't think guys that watch me regularly are going to put a freaking ring on her or go around saying she's his wife, even though she's not, and all the other crap you're saying. But you know what? Guys are dumb. I absolutely agree. Guys are dumb. They do the stupid ass shit for women. He says, yep, he technically followed the letter of the advice, but all these other actions screamed that they were married to the public eye. In this guy's province of Canada, that was more than enough for a court to rule that he had to pay her $50,000 a month in support for 10 years. I can picture him talking with his attorney in Steve Urkel's voice. Did I do that? Yeah, I know this guy's my generation. He's talking about Steve Urkel here. Yeah, $50,000 a month. This guy was very wealthy, of course. I remember that. What a fucking dumbass. He says, yep, you really did. Now you're $6 million poorer for being a dumbass, and you never married her. So what should a relationship guys do besides not getting married? Okay, listen up. He says, number 1, never ever call a woman your wife, give her an engagement or wedding ring, and don't pay her bills. Well, yeah, but how many guys out there pay their girls' bills? Come on here. 2, never commingle funds, ever, and don't buy a house together. Yep, a lot of guys think, hey, I'll just buy the house with my girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. Nope, bad idea. And commingle funds, never do that. 3, check with your lawyer about your state's jurisdictions, rules on common law marriage, and if you're one of those states, do not move in together. Yes. I mean, it's not rocket science. But another thing is important, I guess he didn't mention this. Okay, like let's just say, make sure your girlfriend, if you don't live together and she has her own place, still doesn't start having mail come to your house. That's important. Make sure she's not doing that shit. And if she does, take care of it right away. Or she's leaving all this shit at your house. So when I say a lot of shit, I'm talking more than just like a little bit. The toothbrush and a change of clothes. I'm talking her leaving a lot of crap at your house. Don't let her do it. And amongst many other things. He says, 4, if you're not in a common law marriage state and decide to move in together, have a solid cohabitation agreement strategy where you both have your own attorneys, and the agreement clearly states that you intentionally are not seeking to be common law married, and you renew the agreement every 3 to 5 years or sooner if you move to a new place. Well, that sounds great to me, but I cannot picture a lot of guys doing that, to be honest. 5, if you're not moving in together and both have your own places, follow the one-drawer rule, meaning you don't keep any more than 1 drawer's worth of your stuff at her place and vice versa. Okay, it's kind of like, okay, she can have her fucking toothbrush and a change of clothes and maybe her goddamn shampoo. That's about it. Really. Maybe her sexy underwear or sexy lingerie for a fun evening, but that's about it. Yeah. 6, talk with your own attorney about everything, ask questions, and discuss any of these clever loopholes you think you know, and then follow their advice. 7, even if you aren't going to live together but will regularly stay at each other's places, keep the nights together equally divided between your place and hers. And you should sign special releases indicating that you are just a guest at her place and she's just a guest at your place. And keep the signed release and a copy of your lease or deed together and accessible near the front door, but where your girls won't look for it. Well, that's fine and dandy, but I do not see most guys ever, let alone their girls, agreeing to sign what you just described there. I'm listening to you, but I just don't see any guy fucking doing that. The last point, believe me, if you decide to suddenly break up with her and get her out of your place faster than Uncle Phil tossing out jazz, as previously, rational women can immediately go over the edge. Oh, are you saying that a seemingly normal woman can go freaking from 0 to fucking crazy in 1.2 seconds? Yeah. 0 to bitch in 1.2 seconds? She will call the police, and despite it being your place, she won't be the one spending the night sleeping in her car outside the local quick shop. If you don't have that release, you still may end up being the one forced to leave by the cops anyway. But the chances are greatly reduced if you end up with some rational police officers and have the right paperwork ready for them. Rational police officers. Now, I know some cops, and they're good guys. My cousin's married to one, and he's cool, and a decent guy, really. And I'm going to get, and some guys will be like, no, all cops are evil. No, they're not all evil. But, yeah, you got a lot of ones out there that all it takes is some crying woman. He did this, he did that, and these simp-ass cops trying to be heroes, particularly these young rookies that don't know any better. And it's your house, you haven't done anything, but your ass is sleeping in the car. Like I mentioned in the first submission, people will look for cheap and easy solutions, but if you want the full protection, then do all the work. You need to make sure that you can't slip out the back, Jack. This is not going to happen with duct tape solutions. He says, SSM, again, thank you all for what you do to help men protect themselves. I will get you the paternity test strategy email shortly, but my clients and the cat are demanding my attention at the moment. My brother here is a cat person. I saw his law firm website. He's got a picture of his cat in the office. I know you looked me up, so you can probably know my AAA baseball team. I have season tickets, so if you're in my area during a home game, I'll be happy to have you out, buy you a beer, and tell you a few more war stories from my life in the law practice. Well, I appreciate that, man. He says, P.S. I've also included a picture of the roll of duct tape in my office, which I'm fine with you sharing, and a picture of my own cat. Please don't share the picture of the cat, since he already has enough of an attitude, and posting it on your channel would inflate his ego so much more it would pop. Well, I'm a cat man too, and let me tell you, cats love attention. And they absolutely know they're the center of the universe. And as a cat brother, and all the cat brothers out there, you all know darn well, cats don't have masters, they have servants, and it is what it fucking is. Anyhow, bro, that's great. I appreciate the update here, and this will benefit somebody, I guarantee that. And if you already have it written up and ready to go, your email about paternity tests and all that, and what guys need to know about that, send it over. You know, I'm going on vacation in a few days, and so I'm stocking up on videos right now, so if you can send it over, definitely will help me out get it filmed and have it ready to go when the time is right. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And if you got a great story to send, guys, send it my way, strongsuccessfulmail@gmail.com. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.